music no one can ever refuse it. Pulsating, vibrating, reggae, reggae, reggae. Very sky, rock, steady, mental, a quadrillion.
Yes, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. This is the Real Stuff Podcast, and today we have a special edition of Real Current with Teddy Laidley. And with us also is Flavius, our co-host. And with Teddy Laidley is his guest, Garfield Phillips, and legendary songwriter, singer, producer, All. Welcome, Teddy. And guest.
Hi, Teddy. And your guest, who is Teddy's guest again?
Garfield Phillips.
Garfield Phillips. Welcome, Garfield.
Teddy, not hearing you, Teddy. Not hearing you at all. Are you hearing Teddy, Courtney?
No, I'm not hearing Teddy.
Where are you, Teddy?
Not hearing you, Teddy. Not hearing you at all.
Maybe the speaker, maybe when put in a speaker and cut out the sound.
Look so.
Yeah, we're not hearing it, Teddy.
All right, still not hearing me?
No,
hearing it right, loud and clear. Yeah.
Okay, well, we just have to. All right. No, what I'm saying, this week we're not going to talk about what's happening around the world and in Jamaica. You send me, I think, and talk about the business of music, and
right,
that's why.
I sorry I didn't mention it, but yeah, but because we were calling you to come into yeah.
And so, what happening around the world and happening in Jamaica, you won't be getting that this week. Right? I have a friend of mine, a colleague of mine, who have been in the music business for more than 2 decades. 1989. So we're talking almost 3 decades here. And I've worked with very outstanding artists. Now where we're calling from is from Mixing Lab Recording Studio that has a history of a lot of pioneers passing through here from the Snow, from Canada, that Canadian artist, to the legendary Sly and Robbie, and also other producers, Stevie and Clevie was one of the persons who works here. So here at Mixing Lab, a lot of persons sharpen their skill right here as producers, as engineers, as artists, and even Pam herself have done work here, laying tracks on outstanding song. Isn't that so, Pam?
Quite so.
Right. Now, one of the things we want to look at is, for too long, the business side of the music have been ignored. Persons, most of the time over the years, especially artists, primarily focus on the end result, right? Not on how the nuts and bolts of getting that single out or that album out or that, no, I didn't know the new name, EP, right? But one of my concern, Courtney, is there's too many persons who are beat makers who take on the moniker of saying that they are producers. And I think they don't understand the role of the producer in all of this. what one of one of the thing uh, you have executive producers and you have producer, musical producer. And I think whatever happened over the years, a lot of persons get mixed up with the executive producer and the musical producer, because the executive producer is seen as the one who finance the project. And so he is what you call an investor who looking a return on his investment, right? The musical producer is the person who have the ear for music, right? And so he worked very closely with the studio engineer and musicians, right? And so here it is, he's the person who have an ear for the music, because there's a lot of things that come underneath as a producer. You must know musical notes. You understand? You must know keys. You must at least know when somebody is off key, right? And so I'm now going to turn it over to Stampalue to tell you a little bit more of how the studio function as a producer.
That's greetings.
Greetings.
All right. Well, as we enter the studio, there's a few things. Like Mr. Laidley was saying, you have to have a concept as to where you want to go with this particular song, whether it be the lyrics and whether it be the musical composition. You know what I mean? And so we are talking about the synergy now of getting a group of people to make a particular thing sound better than what one person would have done with it. You know what I mean? So you want to know what kind of bass line you want to use on this song. What kind of jump would have been the best sound for this particular song. So say we're hearing something that sounds a little bit jazzy. You want to make sure the drummer can play something that you want to hear, whether it be a straight jazz or, you know what I mean, probably the hi-hats, you know what I mean, or the drum sound. You can choose what you want, because you probably want it to sound like a reggae with a little bit of jazz, you know what I mean. So you have to fuse everything and getting everybody to understand what you want the end product to be, you know what I mean. And so you can set the stage for that as it relates to the keyboard player, the guitarist. Everybody who is part of that production needs to be at the same level as to where we want to take this song. You know what I mean? Right, Miss Pam, right, Miss Al? As well as sweet voices.
I. Quite so.
So that is the direction we have to take when we enter the studio, want to do something. You know what I mean?
So tell me something, Stampalue. So what when you have like even with the digital beats now, you actually have a beat already, and the singer just come and record it, and they do the mixing on the beat. Because I've seen songs done in the studio before, and they do the song with the band and everything live. But I realized that the song can also be produced with just the tracks being there. The person just come in, do his singing, and they just mixing the tracks with the voice and all of that.
That is what most people do. But if you love the music, I mean, the life of the music is the live music. You understand? And so yes, we can say we see songs which is basically the same that you're talking about. But most of the songs that is the songs that you have live musicians coming to the studio. And like we said, the synergy is sometimes these beats are created by one person. You know what I mean? And when you create a beat by one person, it is basically one-dimensional in my view. You know what I mean? So when you come in the studio with a drummer and the drummer start playing something, they find that the guitarist hear something a little bit different and want to add to that. You know what I mean? So most of the time it's a different vibe going into that. Not saying that the other thing that you just mentioned is not good, because there's a lot of songs that it from just somebody just come and hear a beat and sing at it. You know what I mean? But I prefer to do the live music.
Yes, I realized too that you're also an engineer, studio engineer. So tell
No,
us
I'm not a studio engineer, but I work closely with the engineers. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So sometimes some people give me some rule that I don't really have, but I can assume them if they want me to. You know what I mean? Yeah, but we work with everybody closely, man. And so we learn a lot of things, because I've been producing. Well, my first involvement is in the music was being a promoter. And the first show I did was in 1989 called Reggae My Lighters. But then I started doing studio recording in 1991. And so we started with Sanchez and Frankie Paul, and a few others. And then I was introduced to Laidley in Canada, listening to a cassette. And at the time I didn't know her name. You know what I mean? Until I came to Jamaica and was talking to a friend of mine, and then they introduced me to Laidley as a person. You know what I mean? So we are in the business for the longest time. My father is also a record producer. I don't know if you've ever heard about a version called Phillip.
yeah, man.
He used to have
I know Phillip personally, man.
Yeah, man, Phillip, I'm a father, man. I'm an old man, that
Yeah.
man. Yeah, so the music will come from that side there, you know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Because back in the days, like, because Orius and myself grew up together, you know.
Yeah, man, for real,
We're
man.
both
I'm
friends.
from Orius. So Orius is a good friend of
I
mine.
used to go, yeah, man. We used to go rehearsals with Orius right down back at the back of Alcians, down the goal on the goal side.
Look here, though, that is where I was born and raised. That big yard them called Phoenix. So you know what you're talking about, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man, that's it there for the thing, man.
You know, so and several singers used to be down there, Ken Booth, John Holt.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
you know, get to see and know the, you know, from I was a teenager and all of that. So,
True.
have that kind of experience with all the rehearsals and certain things go, you know.
Yeah,
No
true.
Phil Pratt.
My father did produce, I think Archibald was my dad's song. Strange Thing, Talk About Love, all of his stuff. He has a nice catalog out there, you know. Nice catalog of hits. And these were the same people that was coming over Phoenix. That's what they used to call that place. The place they're talking about. And the gully side is.
No.
Yeah, man, so you're rooted and grounded, you know.
Which gully side?
That's right. And Studley Park Road alongside right beside Alcian School.
Yeah. Phoenix. They used to call it Phoenix.
Phoenix, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now we really want to talk more, you know, about that business side and how Royal, you know, because I think Teddy had mentioned too while I was speaking to him, you know, off here about the whole thing about royalties, how singers go about it, you know, our songwriters go about the royalties and all of that. And I don't know if Pam want to come in and talk a little too about, you know, the producing, about royalties, about anything like that in the whole business of music.
Okay. The songwriter, right?
Yes.
It can be one person, it can be a lot of people. So for instance, if the bass player comes in and you say, Bassy, just give me a thing. You're asking the bassy to also compose the bass line for the song. So the bass is part of the songwriting team. The same goes for all the people who play that kind of role. So it's not just, yes, basic. Play do, re, mi. I said, basic, give me your thing. He's a composer. And I'm afraid a lot of people don't understand that. Either they don't understand or they don't want to. I guess a lot of us don't understand because it is not really taught in school. And I think the whole idea of copyright and so on should be really taught in school from early so that people have an understanding of what copyright is, whether it's music, writing, inventing, whatever, you know. So you have all these roles. So you have, the songwriter, you have the producer, you have the artist. Now the artist might also be a songwriter. They might do the melody as well as the lyrics. Or they could be a songwriter differently who has given the lyrics and the melody to the artist. So it's, it's either or. So the producer now, not talking about the executive producer now, the producer would get all these things together and he might start off with just 3 people playing drum, bass, and keyboard. And you put down a rough voice. Then you will listen back and say, okay, it would be good to have a Congo. So let me get Congo Billy or somebody like that to come and play some drums on the song. And you might also end up with versions because of what the instrumentalists have done. So you might end up with the version from the singer. Take what name again? Our drummer there that plays congos. Very popular. He sings as well.
Bongo Herman.
Bongo Herman, right. You can end up having Bongo Herman end up doing a version of the song, play the drums. You know? But within all of this, you have to look about the rights of each participant. So if the bass player played the bass, that's one function. If he composed the bass, that's another function. And different organizations deal with those 2 things. So if he simply just played the bass, the organization that would deal with that would be JAMS, Jamaica Music Organization. Jamaica Music Organization. So they deal with the people who participate on the song. If they say, write the bass line, after having played, she has rights with JAMS as a participant, a performer. As a writer, he would go to JCAP. JAMS is Jamaica Music Organization.
Mm.
And they deal with 2 things. They deal with the producer, right? They also deal with performers. This one, the performer part of it, is fairly recent for JAMS. But they've started performing that role as well, working with performers, as well as the producers. Then now, JCAP now will deal with the bass line where you play. So that's what's it called it again? A compositional role. So they will deal with that. So as the bassist, you need to make notes of these things. What I do, I mean, I'm very sloppy in some ways, but For quite a few years now, I've been writing down what I've done, and I should just write them down. But after a while, when PPL, which is another organization which is based in England, they represent performers, and they were before jams. So I joined them long time. In fact, they had another name, which I can't remember now, and then they changed into PPL. So I will send to PPL that, okay, I did this and that song. Or it might be getting played, so I will actually find it on PPL, and I can claim as a background vocals. Or I might go, sometimes, there have been times when I go on PPL and I see a song that I sang harmony on and also sang lead. So I claim for the lead part and I claim for the harmony part. So all of these things. So I said to people, write down what you have done, and even if it takes long to do it, make sure you have the information. And I will say, all right. At first, I used to print the forms. And then I said, no, this is too much paper. So my way of doing it is I have a book. And I write the date, the name of the song, the name of the producer, so on and so on and so on. And then I'll get somebody to witness. It can be the engineer or whatever to say, yes, she did that on this date. So that part of it. There are some people who have encouraged and they've started doing it. But, oh, here comes the rain again. Yeah, so, so those parts. And then you have the agreement now between the artist and the producer. I think the great majority of us, we just go in the studio and we don't sign nothing. We need to start doing that. I have been trying to do that more now. I do one song for you, we sign a very simple agreement. So I have my information, I have it signed, witnessed, and I can go on whichever website. Of course, you have to join. Some of them you have to have a couple of songs first, which is why it's important to write down what you do. Because if you have one song, okay, that's not enough. 2 songs, 3, you make sure you write down that information in your computer, in your book, whatever you use. And then you can claim your little royalties. And if it's worth a song you do, then it will start to add up. If, of course, they're getting played. So that's basically the part that most of us not dealing with. So we need to do that.
So okay, Teddy, I know you're back. Yeah, as Pam was talking about the copywriting and Stampalue was talking about producing and all of that. So tell me something about copywriting.
All right. Okay, before we even talk about the copyright, when Stampalue was talking about the studio, the one of the things that I always say to put in place is a split sheet. Make sure before recording take place, put this split sheet in place. That is my monitor. So at the end of the day, everybody know whom, because the producer is the adhesive that bring everything together, from the musician to the engineer, because remember, also the final product have to be mastered, and it have to be what other thing before? It have to mix and master, right? And so what we are saying, if everything is done upfront, for years in Jamaica, we've been putting the cart before the horse. Whereas we just come into the studio and we don't take care of the business side of the music. And that's where we fall down over the years. And that's where we are not given our dues in terms of royalty. Because earlier when Pam talked about the beneficiary of it, we're talking about the collecting agent. Because this, at the end product, meaning when you've done all the recording and the distribution and it's playing out there, somebody has to collect on your behalf because you can't monitor all what is on there. So if we take care of the business side from the start of the music, then everything flows easily. For example, when she mentioned jams that deal with performance and producers, all of that would have been tied up. JCAP would have been tied up. The copyright now that we're talking about would have been tied up because a lot of people still do the poor man copyright. And we are now living in a technological age, right? The poor man copyright is you doing your song and mail it back to you. No, that is kind of outdated now, right? That is basically kind of outdated because if the house burn down and your song burn down, that is it. You understand? One of the things you can do, because we are all now living in an electronic world, is email it to yourself and it come back to you. You understand? So at least electronically it passes through because it gives time and date when you do it that way. Because remember, the date and the time cannot be replaced. Nobody can go into the system to manipulate, to change that. Nobody. It can't. It's like today is the 16th of October. Tomorrow is the 17th. So you can't get that confused. You understand? You can't get that confused. So that is one of the no easier way on electronic. The other thing we forgot here in Jamaica is the National Library. I'm not talking about the Jamaica Library. We're talking about the National Library. And the National Library is keepers of our record. And one of the things that I like to say and encourage artists is that whenever you complete a song, whether it's electronically, you know, as we talked earlier, or tangible, when you complete it in a vinyl or CD, is to give a copy to the National Library, right? So that helps also with the copyright, meaning if anyone infringe, because there was a case, I just wanted to mention this, there was a case of this young artist who take up a rhythm that was done over 30 years ago. He come across it and he took it up and take it on as his own. And the song went well with the rhythm. And the person to whom who did that came up and said, because he thought, for example, after 30 years, the person must have died, right? Because, you know, the copyright now, we have even changed it. We move it to 70. It used to be 50 up on the death of the person, 50 years after, then it go into public domain. But we changed it now to 70.
No, it's 90.
Yeah, and the reason why we have to change it to 70 right now.
It's 90, Teddy.
Yeah?
It's 90.
Yeah, 90. Yeah, and the reason why we have to change it to 90 is because in another couple of years, Bob Marley music is not going into public domain. If you look at it, because he died in 1981. So he died 43 years ago, right? He died 43 years ago. So in another 7 years, his music would have to be in public domain. So anybody could come and use it. Now, America was smart enough. Why, when they changed it, because of, you know, people like Elvis, right? And because Elvis is seen as a national treasure, we have Bob Marley as a national treasure. So we have to change it to 90 years before it goes into public domain. So in terms of copyright, if we have the take care of the business side when we are in the studio, then we don't have a copyright issue, because at that point with the split sheet, you would have known who is the writer of the song. You understand? And that is one of the things. For too many years in Jamaica, many of the artists comes into the studio and they don't write music. It's what they call ad-lib. You understand? Because in truth and in fact, what should have happened is that it's either you do the lyrics and then add the melody, or you give them the melody and then write the song towards the melody. You understand? And this is why when we talk about a producer who have an ear for music and even playing, I have knowledge of keys, you can make a suggestion as a producer what keys that song should have been in, because now you're working with the artist and you can say, no, your key is this, so don't attempt to go into another key because your voice range. And that's why we're saying you must have a little bit of knowledge of voice range, because for too long people cross over and it don't come over well in the end product. So in terms of copyright, get it done in the first instance. As I said before recording take place, put the split sheet in place. And after that, everything is smooth sailing.
The split sheet though, which is why I just take care of my part, because
Sorry, Paul, I didn't hear that.
yeah, I just take care of my part because the split sheet for the most part is very difficult to get done. Somebody will have a rhythm, like I'm going to tell you a situation I'm in. Just sing on a song the other day, sing on a rhythm. Me and my songwriting partner will write the song, right?
Yeah.
The producer bought the rhythm, the rights for the rhythm, from somebody several years ago. Him can't remember what the person name. Him can't find it. Him can't find it, what you call it, the letter, the email and thing with the agreement between them. You know? So the information is incomplete. And it's the same thing I see in the studio all the way. People, it's not like everything is done one time. First time you had more of that in it. A lot of people just do everything one time. Because I remember like when I just started to sing, I'm there when the rhythm is being laid. You know, kind of thing. But them time they when I write no split sheet, because we don't know nothing about that neither. But yes, some people would still have some producers would still have the info. And you will see the info on albums. Because a lot of my albums, you see the information, who did what. Because we make sure we write that down still. Although, having written down some of those things, the distributor don't put it on the album. You have all those situations where it makes it difficult. That's why we really have to get more serious about them things. You know? I mean, seriously. So all that is to decide is to agree with you.
You see, the thing about it, Pam, as you earlier said, we need to get this into school so at least persons know. Remember, the entry into the music business is basically two-way. It can be more, but two-way. One, by competition, like the Rising Star, the Magnum King and Queen, or somebody who bring you into the music. So a producer would have identified somebody and bring them in. And again, that's how it goes, right? So, somebody gives somebody a break who are already in it, because the music business does not carry an entry level. It's not like, for example, corporate world where you have to have pre-qualification and competent tasks to take on the job. The music business is not like that. It does not carry an entry level. And that's one of the things that I've said many times over. It's a reflection of a squatter settlement. And people get very sensitive when I say that. I say a squatter settlement is that everybody just come up on a piece of land and put up them little structure, and there's no uniformity. But from time to time, don't we formalize squatter settlement? You understand? We formalize squatter settlement and make it into a much more livable environment. So the thing that we want to do here, especially with the music, we want to move it from the squatter settlement, right? And get it structured. So therefore, when somebody comes into the studio, he is knowledgeable about things like the split sheet, he understands the producer's point, he understands, the musician understand that there are collecting agents who represent them. The backup singer or the background vocal know that there's an organization out there that help them to a piece of the pie from the royalty. For too long, you know, we have this saying here in Jamaica that producers are reducers and managers are damagers, right? Because many persons don't understand how the business go. And again, in the start of the program, we said one thing. Too many executive producers are coming in because people just figure, say, them can make a money. And let us start the things as it is. You know, some people use it as a vehicle to do illicit things. Come on, we'd have to skirt around the thing. You understand? You know, just like the days then when certain people used to put on shows, right? And for illicit, they have illicit intention, but them use the show as a means of their gainful employment, and this is where they make their money, right? And so the point I am saying, if persons are coming in, get yourself knowledgeable. The one thing I always say to people, in the abundance of water, the fool is thirsty. This is not like 30 or 40 years ago. We are at a point now, any question we want to ask, you can Google it now. Do you understand? And yet, persons are still making the same mistake that was done 50 years ago in the music. And we have to change the narrative. We have to...
Can I make a joke?
Yeah.
Can I make a joke? I mean, this is a serious joke. It just reminded me about it. I buy a lot of coconuts every week, right? So my neighbor on the other side of the house was saying to me, it's a long time I don't have a coconut, you know. So long. No, I tell him on the way, take coconut if you want. So him telling me no, him don't have any coconut for a couple of weeks now. So I start to sing. In the abundance of water, the fool is thirsty. And I wasn't even thinking, it didn't hit because I was saying literally water. That came to me after, is there water there? And the water we are talking about is true. not a synonym, you know? Real water. So I had a good laugh about that one, you know. But yeah.
But the thing is...
I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay. you're all talking about it from the side of the artists and in Jamaica. What about the certifying companies? Do they have a huge staff so they can verify what is being sent to them? How do they know that it is real?
There's too much out there. That would be a huge job. Some things you can find, some things you can spot. Because suppose somebody come in with a song and they're registering this song, and you can say, I know that this is from X song. You need to do X, Y, or Z. But even if you are going to say to the person bringing the song, you need to do X, Y, them can still go put out the song.
Okay.
And whatever happen.
Okay.
You know?
Mm.
So it's impossible to fully control that.
Okay.
It is getting stricter though, with technology. I remember posting a World Cup clip and them just cut me same time and I say, yo. So things are getting stricter. And of course I should know better. But boy, they sweet me so much. I make two little posts, But that side of it is getting stricter. But the knowledge part, no. So for instance, UTech, Excelsior, Community College, all of the, what do you call them? The colleges and so. Of course, it should be in high school too. But the colleges should have serious lessons on these things. So that you don't run, go put on an event, for instance, without getting your permits from these organizations. You have to get permits from these organizations. Then can call the police and lock down the event if you don't have a permit from JAMS, Shake-Up. Those are the two main ones, JAMS and Shake-Up. If you don't have those permits, your event can be locked down, and it has actually happened. So people need to know, if you are going to be executives who are going to put on music, put on events, who are going to use music. If you're playing music in your business, you have to get a license because you're using somebody's intellectual property for your gain, for your restaurant to sound good, for your business to make the customer feel nice and whatever inside there. You're using their music for that, whereas your music's supposed to be for private usage. So if you're using it publicly, you have to get a license. And a lot of people in colleges and so don't know this. They might mention one or two things, but not in a way that people will take it seriously. So the educational system, I think, is really, really not playing the role they should play in the whole thing of intellectual property. Intellectual property is the done of everything. And if you don't realize it, you can lose a lot.
What about the telephone system? Like when you call a business place and they put you on hold and music comes on.
Yeah.
You need a license for that too?
Yes.
Okay.
No, that flavor is a little bit different because that is it generates income for the artist, and so that's most of the time that is come to licensing. That's a different category. No, when it come on to what is
Teddy, no,
yeah.
It's not just the artist who benefits, it's the producer. That's why you have the various income streams and the various organizations. They all have to get their income stream via the licenses. everybody who has take part in the song can get or should get their benefit from those things, from these licenses. And then the organizations, or when they collect the licenses from various people, various organizations that are using the music, then depending on how much your music is used, you as a writer, singer, whatever, then you get whatever you forget. So yeah, it's just another income stream.
Wow.
The era that Pam was talking about in terms of the commercial use of it in public space, the education needed on that, and it have to be through, for example, JCAP, and they are from time to time mention it through commercial, radio commercial on you know, on the mainstream. But what really need to happen is within the spaces where a lot of people use, which is social media. You understand? Social media and print media and flyers, just like you have the shows going on and people put out flyers out there. You want to make sure that you can do these things, that it is in person's face, right? So for example, if I think this is just an idea that hit my head here is, for example, when you go, JCAP can go around and give out flyers or stickers or posters and let persons know once you're using it for commercial purpose, just as I said, to entertain the person who are in a business, you have to pay a fee, right? And I think what need to be done is just like how you have the tax administration who are compliance officers who go around to the business places to see to it that they are tax compliance. The money is coming into the government coffers. The JCAP and the different body need to have compliance persons, not only at events, at the large event that takes place, like at a mass camp or whatever. You need constant compliance officers within the organization that goes out. And so therefore,
they have it, they have that.
One generating some money.
They have that,
so we
you know.
need compliance people.
They have that. They do have that. So like all the radio stations and so on, for the most part, tend to be compliant. Some of them fight it to the best of their ability, but most are compliant, and in time all will be. But they do have people, licensing officers, who, you know, do that kind of thing. Yeah, man.
But the thing also, Pam, we have to basically educate the public and show them the relevance and why is it important, because it's taking away revenue from somebody. That's what it is. Right.
Yes, and that's why I say it should be in
the public the relevance.
Yeah, that's why I say it should be in school, because you don't really have, in general, you don't have societal acknowledgement, support of the importance of intellectual property, because them don't know about what am I talking about? No, I'm not pay for no event, you know, because they don't appreciate it. They have not been educated about it. So the society as a whole, some of them are beginning to understand, and some young artists and writers and so on are really on top of their game, but it's still not enough. Still not enough. So
yeah, Teddy. Back to you. I hear you talk about the producers and the managers, but I'd like to hear some word about distributors, because in my mind, it seems like the distributors make more money than everybody else.
Yeah, yes. And it's worse now in terms of how
Well,
they have in terms of how they have cheapened the music. You know, the big people now who push out, who you could call it digitally distribute the music. Yeah, they really. Mm-mm-mm. I won't say too much about that, but it's not so good. It's all right. Not so good at all.
what have happened, Courtney, is that years ago, we you know, within music you have analog now and you have digital, right? Years ago, it was analog, meaning you could physically, there was a space for the distributor. You know where he is, you take the product to him, right? Today, it's in a space.
Yes, yes.
Do you understand? And you have no control over that space to a point. You understand? So it's like one would say that a hope and feel now taking place with distribution. So you have to understand who you're giving a product to, right? That's one. What are the benefit to me? You know what I mean? Because it's a two-way communication, you know. You just can't take up a thing and just give it to somebody and then just sit back. You have to monitor it. And the same way you used to have to monitor it in the analog way, where you used to go and check. You know, the good thing about it, we're living in technology. You can stay on the space and also check it. You have to put in a work, Courtney. You just can't take it and then turn around blaming the distributor. You give me something to sell, I have to make sure say you're doing what you say you're doing.
Yeah,
and,
but
and,
still,
and keep the agreement.
I
You're
get
saying
that.
something?
Yeah, I get that point. It's, you can't blame the distributor. If this distributor cheat, then forget blame too.
Come again?
I said, if the distributor thief, if you get blamed too, you can't be blameless because you are not on top of him, you know. But I'm going to tell you something. Vinyl has made a huge, huge, huge comeback. Big, I mean, big time. You know that, right? I'm not hearing anything.
Yeah.
No,
We're listening, Tom.
I'm saying, Pam, we're glad for vinyl because at least it is tangible. We can see it, we can feel it, we understand. It vinyl, I tell people, is harder to duplicate. You understand? Because the space that we are in now, it's easy to replicate and duplicate. But the point I am saying to you, Pam, when you said if the distributor misappropriate, I don't like the word that they use. Let's say misappropriate, right?
Never thief, never free, never.
The point is, just like contract, Pam, contract is not written in your favor. No contract is written in your favor, right? And so what it means whatever contract you engage in with a distributor, manager, producer, you must equip yourself. You know, go back to say knowledge is key.
Let me say something, Juan, just to solidify what you said. You still have some people, as Teddy was saying, that to sign an agreement and everything. But your song is being sent to different places that you don't have an idea where they're sent to. And so sometimes what they do is to pay you royalty where they are. So say for instance, this distributor network is in America. The pay on the sales that is in America.
Yeah.
And so every other sale that takes place outside of America, you don't get paid for it.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you have to, this is what we're saying. The forum is there, Stampalue,
Yeah.
that you can find that out.
Well, no, that yeah, the ISRC could have
Yeah, there you go.
Make a
And
difference.
because of technology,
Yeah.
you're able now to able to track
Yeah.
your product. Years ago, let us talk about years ago, a man print the stamp in a Jamaica. And he carry go England and go print almost thousands of copy because he never get by the stamp. You understand? So technology is making things a little bit better for us today. Would you agree, Pam?
To a point, yes. However, I'm going to tell you something. And I'm gearing up to do some vinyl, you know. But we did a vinyl a few years ago. And we actually make back our money from our production. After that one or two little shows and things, it actually was a benefit, you know. So it was a single. Just a single. So I am looking at it again because that was a few years ago and it's vinyl is even bigger now. And there are people now who know about special projects that you can use with the vinyl, make them different color, all kind of stuff they can do, you know. So I'm taking a look at putting something out on vinyl as our production. I do work for other people too, of course, but yeah.
Make sure say you control the stamper.
Stampalue.
Stamper.
You're a man called him Stampalue in the group here. Stampalue.
Basically, sorry, for the distributors, they are the one that benefit from all these digital.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the digital distributors. Yeah, man. Them people terrible, man. Them do some terrible things.
So, Teddy, because one of the reasons I brought up this whole thing about the distributors, and I remember back in the days as a youth, used to see Bob Marley and Peter Touch, I carry them records all over, you know.
Yeah.
Down to Randy's, up to Prince Buster, Joe Gibbs, all over. And a friend of mine who used to produce music, that's how he didn't have a distributor. Him carry his music to Randy's, carry, you know, all over the same way.
Yeah, man.
Because,
And
you know,
people, I used to sell them these, you know. I
yeah,
used to sell
and
them.
yeah, and it gave them more, you know, much more control over how the record has been distributed.
Yep.
Because when they put it in the hands of one distributor, that can be a real problem.
Mm-hmm.
As here, because I've read too about artists complaining about even a particular distributor, a big distributor. You know, that percentage that they were taking from them was too much.
Yeah. And it's
So,
not like they are the producer, you know. It's not like they are the producer, you know.
Courtney, you just don't want to be held liable. That's why you don't talk about. We all know.
We all know.
We all know. So don't make it sound like, you know, we just don't want a lawsuit because
No, we can't
evidence
afford
has to be presented. Evidence is there.
Can't afford it.
It have to be in order to be accused, you have to have the evidence to accuse me. And if you can't substantiate the evidence, then I can have a liable suit against you. So that's the reason why you talk about, you know, distributor. You know, and all of us.
Yeah, man. Don't know.
Yeah, so definitely, you know, I mean, in a nutshell, then you'd like to sum up for us that, Teddy?
my summary, it go back to the same saying, and I will continue to say it. Before recording take place, put the split sheet in place. Take care of the business, and that's one of the reasons why a lot of persons over the years have suffered at the hands of persons, because they said knowledge is power, right? One of my last saying is that ignorance enslave, knowledge liberate. Let me say it again. Ignorance enslave, knowledge liberate. And that's where we have to go. If you're coming to this business, you must make the decision whether you want to be enslaved or you want to be liberated. And that's my take on it. Sambro.
Well, this is what I have to say. I understand that we are here, we have been here for a while talking about this music business. But we need to change it, just as Phil said, and said this business of music, because the business comes first, the music comes after. You understand? And so when we put all that in place, then we can see changes. That is it for me.
Yeah.
We can see changes.
Yep. We have to take the business part serious. Definitely have to do that. And since the society is not enabling us to do that, we better do it ourselves. Because the information is out there. So we have to go look it, ask, find out all the things set, and try and help and protect ourselves.
Okay, so Flavius, back to you. Can I just close us out? And
Well, this was a very, very bright, vibrant meeting on a very serious topic. And this, this is a topic that need to be explored always from a longer time. Things are changing, but at some point it still remain the same. So I'm very happy that we had this meeting, and thank you all for coming. And I think we need to have another one where we can move on to probably what can be done, what needs to be done. Are musicians actually making a living? How is the government looking at it now? What part the musicians or music plays in our economy and our development. We need to also extend this discussion to those areas. So thank you very much again, Pam.
It's been a pleasure.
Producer Teddy. So Courtney will arrange a date for the next session, and we hope to see you back again. Thanks again. Courtney, back to you.
yes, well, that's it, folks, from the Real Stuff Podcast. Thank you again for being here, and surely we have to go and do part 2. So whenever you're ready, again, let me know, and we'll do it. Oh, we'll just do it again. Let's do it again. Okay?
All right.
Bye from the Real Stuff Podcast.
Bless up, everybody.
Bless
Bless
up.
up, yes.
You lead us to full. You belong far away away. Ajuguala lebo buseru. Lida mua, lida sungfula. Lida mua, lida sungfula.
Well, unfortunately, this is it. Till next time. Bless.
speak. One word is enough, and I'm no longer so rough. I forget what I was trying to say. I no longer do what I was gonna do, but you're no good for me. That's why me know send me a pick a flee. Me have to take away me say. Me have to take away me say. Me have to hide like a thief in the night. Me have to get out of sight. Me have to take away me say. Have to take away myself. I have to utilize I wings. Surely I